It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games. Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Thursday morning. Coming up this morning, Brian Geltzeiler is going to join us at 8:30. We will talk NBA playoffs with him and NBA draft. I think the Jazz most likely path forward here is they use the number 2 pick and they take whoever falls to them, Peterson or DeBonsa. My guess is it'll be Peterson, but still early in the process. I reserve the right to change my mind. There ought to be new information flowing in. I think that's what I would do if it were me, and I expect that's what they will do. But what does Brian Geltzeiler think about all of that? Well, we'll ask him. We'll also talk to him about the playoffs. The Knicks are in the final. The Spurs are up 3-2 with Game 6 tonight in San Antonio. I think this game's like a 50-50 Spurs game, but I think Game 7, I'd go Thunder 80-20. Now, they may not even get to Game 7. Maybe that coin flip. Maybe they win it and close it out tonight. I can tell you in similar situations last year, they didn't close out the Pacers on the road in Game 6, and they didn't close out Denver on the road in Game 6. They won Game 5 to take the lead in both of them, and then they lost Game 6 and had to win Game 7, which they did on their way to the title. We'll see if they can close it out tonight. I mean, stop playing with your food. Wrap this thing up. That's what I want to scream at them, but I don't have to go out and play against a 7-4 guy either. And Wemby's coming off a bad game, so we'll see if he can summon a bounce-back game. And then with Geltzeiler being a tri-state guy, and I'm curious if he thinks the Knicks are really that good and they can stand up to whoever they face here in the final, or if they really are a product of an Eastern Conference that's just not good. They've won 11 straight, and they've won them by largely very big margins, really dominated. So we'll talk with Brian Geltzeiler about that coming up. Also, we got Scott Springer joining us. He covers the Cincinnati Bearcats. Feels to me like they are middle of the league. Maybe they'll be worse than that. I can't imagine they're going to be top of the league, but rosters change so much these days. Who knows? We'll talk with him as our spring football tour continues. Coming up later this morning, a little bit of spring football with Barry Tramel, longtime columnist now with the Tulsa paper, before that, the Tulsa World. Before that, he worked in Oklahoma City. And I am really intrigued by what he had to say about Oklahoma State. Massive turnover there, just a huge unknown. We also talked Thunder in the playoffs with him. We'll take a break right now. When we come back, Mike Folta on the playoffs in the NHL. The Carolina Hurricanes dominate Montreal. They win 4-0. They lead the series 3-1. They have the second best record in the league, the best record in the East. Obviously, Vegas has eliminated the team with the best record, the Avs. Vegas waiting for the winner of this series, and it's hard to believe it'll be Montreal. It looks like the Canadians are in real trouble, and that Carolina is going to get this done. We'll talk with Mike Folta next. Stay with us.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Yesterday, we spent a few minutes with Mike Folta, talked with him about the amazement that Vegas was able to sweep Colorado. He's got a couple theories on that, a major problem Colorado had, but also something Vegas did that really turned things around. 19 wins, 4 losses, and a shootout loss. 19-4-1 since Tortorella rolled in and started coaching that team. It's been a remarkable turnaround, and Mike Folta will explain why. Here's Mike with PK&A on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Mike, Sorry to interrupt your summer, but thanks for joining us.
You guys retched me out of a bachelor weekend that went a little too long here on a Memorial Day in the Midwest, but having fun watching the Stanley Cup playoffs, guys. What an unbelievable sequence of events that the Vegas Golden Knights, who beat the Utah Mammoth, would end up sweeping the President's Trophy, winning Colorado Avalanche in 4 games in the conference finals. And now we have at least one team that has their ticket punched to the Stanley Cup finals or final. It's NBA finals, by the way, with an S, Stanley Cup final, for those of you who don't know. I forgot this and was reminded on Twitter. My defense is that Utah has not reached the final yet. So still brushing up on my grammar in that sense. But guys, it's good to hear from you. Golf game is as bad as you'd expect it to be, and we've got playoff hockey going on.
We often hear in other sports, particularly at the college level, when there's such uneven scheduling and so forth, the comparative scores, we beat you by whatever, and then you beat Alabama by whatever. So, man, we could be playing Alabama. We've all heard that game, right? And it ends up with Portland State should be in the Final Four or something crazy like that, right? We've all seen
the transitive property.
Yeah. So how much do you buy what we've seen here in this most recent round versus what the Mammoth were able to do? Because obviously, except for basically that last game, it was anybody's puck game, so to speak. And can we draw? How much can we draw? Like how close the Mammoth are?
I think you can pull it from both sides, because on one side you could say Utah was 2 overtimes away from beating Vegas in 5 games.
Right.
In 5 games, guys. They had a 2-1 series lead, and they lost games 4 and 5 in overtime. If you can find a way to get a bounce in each of those overtimes, you're moving on, not just in 6 or 7 games, in 5 games against a Vegas team that is representing the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup final. I think the other side of it, though, is this Vegas team seems to be gathering steam as they're moving along. Remember, John Tortorella, the head coach for the Golden Knights, we've talked about this. He took over with 8 games left, right? Yeah. So I think their runway has been longer than maybe a team that has been together with the same head coach for a full 82 games. So I think they've only gotten better and better. Now they had some injuries in the last round and a half. Mark Stone, their captain, missed some time. Getting him back was huge in these conference finals. And Colorado, you had Cale Makar, maybe the best defenseman in the world, was playing at 50% when he was in the lineup. He was clearly battling something. Nathan McKinnon didn't look like himself. I don't believe he had a goal in the 4-game series against Vegas. So I think Vegas has been on the up. They've been ascending as John Tortorella continues to learn the nuances of that room. I don't think you can say he's learning anymore, because they're humming along and they just vanquished the almighty Avalanche. But I think there was a bit of a ramp up for them. So that's one side of it. The other side is, boy, Utah was right there from not just advancing, but maybe making a deep run. And is it crazy to say beware Vegas is? But that's the playoffs, right? Yeah. I mean, you can say woulda, coulda, shoulda all the way to the final.
Wait a second. So it's the Stanley Cup final, but it's the playoffs? That's confusing.
It's the Stanley Cup final because hockey wants to make it about the series, not each individual game. So it's not the finals, like the final games. It's the final series.
But why isn't it the playoff versus the playoffs?
Because there are multiple playoff series.
But there are multiple games.
Nice. This is
we
what he
Gary
does,
Bettman
man.
on line 1.
You can't buy into this, Mike. He'll just drag you in circles and wreck the segment.
All I know is if you say Stanley Cup Finals with an S, someone's going to comment on it on Twitter. Found that out the hard way.
So Tortorella, 19 wins, 4 losses, and they had the one shootout loss in the regular season. That is spectacular. What? And I don't really think PK does either, buy into these mid-season coaching change. And maybe once a decade it pays off if you track every sport. The Marlins did it in 2003 with Jack McKeon. The Cavs did it with Ty Lue and LeBron in 2016. And now here with Tortorella. Now they haven't won it all yet, but they were in the final. But what is he what has he got that they took a team that was honestly scrambling to make it, win the division, and go 19-4-1.
You got Don Mattingly with the Phillies this year.
Maybe Don Mattingly's going to do it with the Phillies. But again, even that earlier in the year makes more sense to me than 8 games left in the season. Yeah.
Well, a couple things at play. One is that Vegas is known for being a cutthroat organization. They had Conn Smythe winner Jonathan Marchessault, and they didn't re-sign him. They had the playoffs MVP, and they basically let him walk in free agency. They fired Bruce Cassidy, a guy who won a Stanley Cup with them in 2023. They fired him 8 games before the end of the regular season. And in hockey, a lot of times we do see a new coach bump, like a new message kind of lights a spark within the group. That's not uncommon. But the number one thing that you can point to with the coaching change is John Tortorella tapping Carter Hart in net. Yeah. The goaltender for the Vegas Golden Knights. He was he joined the team earlier this year. He spent 2 years away from the game going through a legal process. He was acquitted of those charges. He joins the team, I believe, in December, and was just kind of okay, not great early in the year. But at the end of the season, he caught fire. John Tortorella had Carter Hart as his goaltender in Philadelphia. So that's kind of his guy. Mm-hmm. And Vegas had, I think, the second worst goaltending in the National Hockey League throughout the regular season. They were always an elite defensive team, but they just couldn't get a save. So like we get these analytic reports before every game, every series. And during round 1 against the Golden Knights, we're looking at these analytics saying, oh my gosh, like Vegas is one of the most elite teams at suppressing shots. They're one of the top 1 or 2 teams at keeping the puck out of dangerous areas. They just can't get a stop. They weren't able to get a save all season. Carter Hart comes in and was pretty good to end the regular season, was, I thought, just okay in the first round series against Utah, but he did have a slight edge over Karel Vejmelka. And then he's found his stride these last 2 series against Anaheim and against Colorado. He's got himself a .924 save percentage in the playoffs so far, which I believe is the best in the postseason right now. So goaltending is probably the number one storyline for the Golden Knights, but it took that new coach to have confidence in Carter Hart to make that goaltending switch. Another interesting thing about the coaching change is that Bruce Cassidy, the coach who was fired, a very successful coach, but it's kind of gotten out that his message maybe can wear on guys. Like, he coaches his team hard. He drives them hard. And so you fire him, you cut him loose, and you bring in John Tortorella, who is also known for the exact same thing. Like, sometimes you go from good cop to bad cop, or from bad cop to good cop. A lot of times you'll see a defensive-minded coach get fired and an offensive-minded coach come in. But usually when there's a coaching replacement, especially midseason, it's a coach of the opposite nature. But Tortorella is cut from the same intensity cloth that Bruce Cassidy was. So it's been interesting to see just a new face, a new voice has made all the difference, even if they're both motivators, or at least in that category of coaches.
Yeah, there's no question he's a salty guy, and I've never heard of a guy who's wins the game, and then has a blackout on the media. What the freak? Yeah, not just the game, but the whole thing. What was that about?
I think it was a categorical fumble by the Vegas Golden Knights. So if you don't know, they win the second round series against Anaheim, and then after the game, a coach and a player are obligated to speak to the media after every single game. Like that is, you do it 82 times in the regular season. Like he knows it's coming, and they skipped it. Vegas didn't bring him out. They didn't. We don't know exactly who is at fault here. They gave a statement. It kind of sounded like it was John Tortorella that didn't go out and speak to media, but they lost a second round pick, and Torts got fined 100 G's. Yeah. Like, it's all you do is go out there and say, no comment, we're on to Cincinnati. Like, you could have done that and you wouldn't have lost a second round pick.
Right.
So
what's this guy think he is, Bob Knight?
Oh, see, now you're getting me going. Bobby Knight. Oh my gosh. I gotta keep my voice down. I'm back in Indiana. Someone's gonna come out, some Hoosier fan's gonna come out of the bushes and throw a chair at me. Bobby Knight had nothing on Gene Katie in that comb over, by the way.
Okay, you got me there.
But you lose a second-round pick for no reason. Now, the thing is, if Vegas goes on to win the Stanley Cup, they're going to be laughing about this, and they might skip some more media availabilities just because they can. Yeah, and it's going to be a late second-round pick. It's not a position in the draft that's particularly fruitful percentage-wise, but still, that's a bargaining chip. Like that second-round pick could get you a third-line center at the trade deadline next year. There's no excuse for it, but Vegas is kind of an organization that they don't really care about the status quo too much.
Okay, but there's people like that in the NFL, and the NFL people have to talk in the offseason. Quarterbacks are talking in the offseason. Coaches are talking. I just picture
Jackson Dart's talking.
Jackson Dart is talking in the offseason at Trump rallies, and I just picture the commissioner and the entire league office just ready to fine everybody and strip draft picks back to the Stone Age. Like, we're going to sell the NFL at old times. We make a ton of money, and we're going to make a bunch more. And it just seems relentless. And these other leagues, whenever I see people kind of stick up their nose, we're not going to do any free media. I'm like, why? The NFL does. And they got way more money than you.
I think that's part of it. That's part of it is like we clamor for hockey players and coaches to show more personality and not just say, well, we got to get pucks in deep and pucks to the net and things like that. Like we clamor for this, and there's such an appetite for seeing the human element of these coaches and players and getting to know them more. And so I think that you're absolutely right. DJ is like, there's a league initiative here that's being trampled on when Torts doesn't come out. Also, guys, it was after a win. It was after a series win. Yeah. Like, it's not like you just got boat raced or your season's over and you don't want to talk. It's after a win. Like, just go out and smile. He literally could have said, I'm just here so I don't get fined, and he wouldn't have gotten fined.
The season ended for the Mammoth, but it continued for some of the young guys. You've been able to follow their progress, and how close are we getting to some of these dudes coming to pass with the big club?
Well, how many times, I'll ask you guys, how many times have we said, oh, this is a young Utah team the last 2 years?
Right.
I mean, is that not one of the storylines?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it's crazy to think that this Utah team could get even younger based on who's coming and the young guys who could potentially make the team out of camp. You've got T. Jagenla right now playing in the Memorial Cup. That's kind of a round robin tournament of all the junior leagues in Canada to see who is the dominant team, the dominant league of the CHL. You had Gabe Smith and Caleb Denoye competing in their respective junior leagues championship series. And Gabe Smith, a former fourth-round pick, guys, he got the playoff MVP in the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League, even though his team lost the series. That's how good he was. So him and Denoye are teammates or were teammates in Moncton. Hopefully they'll be teammates in Utah soon. Gabe Smith is a name to watch. If you want to sound smart at the water cooler, bring up Gabe Smith. He's 6'4". They list him at like 225, guys. He could run a gap scheme for Coach Scally, or at least like you can move him around the formation as a tight end or something. This guy is enormous, and he scores goals by the boatloads. He's kind of a sleeper. We talked to him the other day, and he's a small town kid from New Brunswick, Canada. It's like just east of Maine. He's a small town kid, kind of got buried in juniors, and then they had a coaching change. This new coach believed in him, and all of a sudden he's producing like a first-round pick. And he's 6'4", and like he talked about how he never had skill before. He was just big, but now he's big and has skill. Now he's big and he's scoring, and he won the playoff MVP in his league. So he's a guy that would be a dark horse to make the team. Probably going to be in the American Hockey League this next year, but it's super exciting to see the growth of some of these guys, because you look at the three major junior leagues in Canada. So that's the WHL, the OHL, and the QMJHL. And the Mammoth had either the top scorer or the top points per game guy in every single one of those leagues.
There are probably, I would say you can probably debate based on the size of their role with the club, but there are probably about a half dozen guys in their 30s in roles for the Mammoth. And you do want to get younger, but you don't want to get too young
Yeah.
What's the balance there? Which of those guys in their 30s you think still remain the immediate future for the team, and how many guys might they be looking to move on from?
Well, you have some unrestricted free agents, so some decisions have to be made, and a lot of the unrestricted or restricted free agents are centers coming up, which is going to be really interesting to see how Bill Armstrong addresses this, because guys like Alex Kerfoot, who's been called the brains of the operation, he's a Swiss Army knife, kills penalties. He's a center. He's a UFA. Kevin Stenlund is your top penalty killer, your top faceoff man. He's a UFA. He was your fourth line center all year. Barrett Hayton can play a number of different roles, very versatile as well. He's a restricted free agent. So some decisions have to be made on those guys. I mean, you still have your core, right? Like, no matter who comes up this next year, which young guys make the team, like the core of the team that's going to push for the playoffs next year is still going to be Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz, Lawson Krause, Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, Mikhail Sergachev. Like those are your pillars still. Those guys aren't going anywhere. You just signed Schmaltz to the contract extension. Cooley and Guenther are on big contract extensions as well. So those guys aren't going anywhere. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, yes, not just who makes the team out of camp from the young guys, but does Bill make any moves to bring in another one of those established players in the offseason? He did that a little bit in free agency last year. He has a history of doing that with trades, especially during the NHL draft. And the Mammoth have a ton of A, draft capital, and B, future prospects. So you've got this war chest of assets. Can you flip some of those future assets into established players to help you win now?
So you said that you are participating or have participated in some form of bachelor weekend. So I guess congratulations are in order. When's the big date?
It's not my bachelor weekend. No, it's my best friend, who's also a broadcaster, by the way. He's the voice of the North Dakota State Bison, who just jumped up to FBS in football. I believe they're in the Mountain West now.
They are.
So that's an awesome program. Guys, I would call into their show under the pseudonym Mike from Minot and just throw in some wild like Nebraska takes into their radio show to stir the pot a little bit. But yes, congrats to Sam in a couple weeks. I had him throw out the first pitch at a Major League Baseball game or a minor league baseball game, and then he did the dizzy bat race. If you can get a bachelor to do the dizzy bat race, it was
that always makes me queasy every time I watch it.
Well, Sam had like one beer and like 3 hours ago, because he didn't want to drink before the dizzy bat race, and so he does the race and he can't stand up. Like he's so dizzy, spun around for 30 seconds, he can't stand up.
Man,
the whole crowd thinks he's hammered. Yeah, the whole crowd was booing him because they thought he was trashed. I'm like, no, he's sober as a drum. He's fighting the G's right now.
Man, having a friend call into your radio show, what a cheap trick. I can't believe people do that.
Oh, I know.
All right, Mike. I'll tell you the backstory to that later. All right. Thanks for joining us, talking a little Stanley Cup final. See? I'm going to learn from your mistake. I'm going to make it myself. I'll get beat up on Twitter for another reason. I don't need to get beat up for that reason. I'll find something unique. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your downtime, and we'll talk to you again.
Yeah, God bless, guys. Tuss up.
There's Mike Folta talking hockey. Barry Tramel joins us next to talk Oklahoma City Thunder basketball and Oklahoma State in the rebuild. College football coming up. Stay with us.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home. Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains May 15th through the 28th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Barry Tramel joined us yesterday. Longtime columnist in the state of Oklahoma, first for the paper in Oklahoma City, now for the paper in Tulsa, the Tulsa World. Barry joined us yesterday, so you hear last night references to Game 5 in the Western Conference Finals. Game 6 is tonight, so that's why the time reference is a little off. But nonetheless, his points about this team and his thoughts on the playoffs stand, and then we'll get to the college football and Oklahoma State's rebuild. Here's Barry Tramel with PK and I.
Barry, good morning.
How's things in Salt Lake?
Good. You're turning into an international star, Barry. PK's coming in telling me I'm hearing Barry Tramel on other shows now.
Yeah, I heard him on the NBA satellite station where he used the example of Victor Wembanyama being able to cover the distance from the Oklahoma City airport to the Brickyard Canal. How visual was that, Mr. Tramel?
Well, yeah, he's something else, man. I guess if I was in Utah, I think he could cover what from the Salt Lake to Provo is about how far his wingspan is. It seems like I don't know how you get a shot.
Go from the Great Salt Lake to Mount Olympus.
Well, there you go. How far is it Salt Lake to Sundance? Is that about 30 miles, probably?
Probably close to 45, 50.
Well, okay.
It's not bad.
Just up to Provo Canyon.
I think for a visual, you'd have it from the Wasatch Mountain to the Oakers, because then you could just have him.
East to west?
See, east to west. You just put him right in the middle of the valley with the wingspan out to each mountain range. See, there you go.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
I do think that it's not death by 1,000 paper cuts, but it is he's getting worn down by playing against a bigger player in Hartenstein and Holmgren, and I think they've given up on trying to pull him all the way out into the corner and having someone shoot a corner three, but they're pulling him up above the top of the key now, and even he can't cover everything. I thought in Game 5, the Thunder were able to drive to the hoop quite a bit. They were moving him around the floor, and it seemed to be working for him.
Yeah, when you play somebody like that, it's so foreign. There's nobody on earth like him. Their availability with him has been minimal. They played a handful of games, and you just learn so much in a playoff series. And they've still been good. I mean, the Spurs have done an unbelievable job on Gilgeous-Alexander and really minimized his efficiency. But even Shea is figuring out some angles and stuff, not necessarily to shoot over him, but to get some passes in. He threw Wembanyama came out on him last night, and he threw a bounce pass to Hartenstein, and it was sort of the angle I was right behind on the pass. And when he threw that pass, I thought, he's got no chance of getting that pass past him. But he did, and it's a nice little bounce pass, and Hartenstein had an easy basket. So things are getting a little easier for the Thunder, but that's all relative because San Antonio makes everything so hard on everybody. Listen, I don't know who anybody wants to win this series, but the Spurs are going to win a bunch in the future. So, get ready for a steady diet of springs with the San Antonio Spurs involved in the NBA.
I've been impressed the whole series with Alex Caruso. We remember him coming up with the Lakers, and I think he moved over to Chicago, and they make that trade with Giddey, where he's now with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And to me, he is like that fly in your face that just won't go away, and he keeps landing on your nose or getting near your ear. He's just a pest. How would you describe his game, and are you as impressed? You see them a lot more than we do by how he's been this whole playoff series.
Well, what you see is what you get with Caruso. The difference is the Thunder does an unbelievable job of keeping Miles off the tires in the regular season. They'll sit him all the time. They might not play him a minute in Milwaukee on a Tuesday night, even if the game's tight and all those things, because they just say, we're going to preserve Alex Caruso. The way he plays, Well, heck, you saw it last night. He banged his head on the floor and turned his ankle all on the same play.
Yeah.
He gets hurt like that all the time. And they just really try to preserve the guy and then unleash him in the playoffs. He was moderately needed against the Lakers and moderately needed against the Suns. But, they need him. Heck, he might be their most valuable player in this series. And he can guard anybody on the court. He's not a very good career three-point shooter until the playoffs. And now he's got the most 3-pointers in a conference final since Luka in 24. Just out of the blue, that kind of stuff happens. So yeah, I remember when they traded Josh Giddey to get him. The rumbling around the NBA was, are the Bulls crazy? They could have got 2 first-round draft picks in that deal along with Josh Giddey. They'd have demanded it. And when you see Caruso play like this, you realize that's true. Sam Presti knew what he was getting, and he would loaded up the truck to bring in an Alex Caruso to this team.
I hold the Thunder in very high regard, but I do think sometimes they play with their food. Guys, just eat. But no, they got to push it around the plate. They have a 20-point lead. It goes down to 8. Yeah. Just blow them out. They were up 3-2 last year against Denver and against Indiana, and they dropped Game 6. Don't let it come down to one game, and anything can happen. Now they won Game 7, so what does it matter? They got the trophy anyway. Do you feel like they're going to play with their food in Game 6 and then beat the Spurs in Game 7?
Well, I don't know that they can. It's awfully tough to beat the Spurs in San Antonio. So they could not play with their food and still lose. But I do think they are wearing down Wembanyama. He's getting tired. There were times last night where I didn't know if he was in the game or not. All of a sudden, watching the game, you think, wait, is Victor out there? And then you sort of look for him, and there he is. And you forgot he was in the game. So they really minimized his impact, which is phenomenal because he's such a high-impact guy everywhere he goes. But I think he's getting tired, shot a lot of threes, didn't post up a lot. 2 straight games, they've really, or really 3, they've really minimized his offensive rebounds. That's where he kills you. I mean, he plays, Moses Malone basketball sometimes. He literally twice this series has just tossed the ball off the backboard so he can rebound it and dunk it. So when he's getting tired, big advantage OKC. So that's the key to me is, will Victor return? Because the Spurs, they're fun and they're young and they're tenacious. They're not great on offense other than Victor. Castle's not a great shooter. He's a big force, but he's not a great shooter. Vassell and Johnson go up and down. Fox is limited with the injury. So they need Wembanyama to score. Now, his defense is all universe. Best defender in the history of the NBA is probably what he's going to be. But they need him to score, and he was not much of an offensive force last night.
What's going on with Jalen Williams, man? He's just had injuries the whole season.
Yeah, it's been a bad year. Just hamstring, missed the first part of the year with the wrist that bothered him in the NBA Finals, had surgery, finally gets to play, has the hamstring. Now he's tweaked it 3 times. I actually think we might still see him in this series, maybe Game 6. I don't know. There was some talk that they might try to run him last night. They ended up not doing it. Thunder's shorthanded with A.J. Mitchell out, with Jalen Williams out. SGA's about the only ball handler you really want to trust left. So, he's a fighter. He wants to play, I'm sure, and they would love him to play, but they're a very cautious organization. So, I don't know if we'll see him, but it sure would alleviate a lot of stress off SGA. And the thing about Williams is he's, this would be the 3rd time he's come back from the hamstring this season. And when he comes back, he hits the ground running. He looks 100%. He's jumping and springing and going all kinds of things. So when he comes back, I think he'll be really good. but it's just whether the Thunder wants to pull the trigger on letting him try it.
What do people in Oklahoma City think of the Knicks, and what do they think of a potential final? Or are they completely obsessed with the Spurs in the Western Conference Final, and no one is considering that yet?
Not too much talk about it yet. Some people are fired up about, and I think this would be true of almost any Western Conference team, an NBA Finals against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden would be really cool. The Pacers, that great. I love Indianapolis. They got one of the best arenas in the history of mankind, all that kind of stuff. But to go play the Knicks, New York's team, right? The favorite team of New Yorkers, any sport, trumping the Yankees, trumping the Giants, the Jets, all that kind of stuff. In Madison Square Garden, home of Willis Reed, Game 7, home of Ali Frazier, Fight 1, all the mystique, all the majesty, all the celebrities, just the electricity around New York. It'd be a phenomenal experience for Oklahoma. This would be the coolest thing on Broadway since Rodgers and Hammerstein. It would be a really cool thing. And that same holds true for San Antonio. If it was Utah, Portland, Sacramento, doesn't matter, whoever. Anybody but the Lakers would probably say, hey, this is really cool. So I think that will be quite the event when it happens. And New York's abuzz about that team. They ought to be. I mean, they're on a historic run. They're very difficult to guard. They've got some defense. So I think it'll be a good competitive finals. It would be a pretty monumental thing for the state of Oklahoma to participate in, I think.
All right, Tramel. I know about Aaron Rodgers, but who's this Hammerstein kid?
Rodgers and Hammerstein. They wrote Oklahoma.
Oh, with Shirley Jones?
Shirley Jones and who's the old boy that played Curly? I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, Rodgers and Hammerstein. They did South Pacific, and they did. They're famous. They're like the Andrew Lloyd Webber of the '50s. So, they're heroes. I guess they're both dead.
Well, aren't you cultured?
Yeah, but. Yeah, they wrote. Rodgers and Hammerstein they're big in Oklahoma. I'm serious. The musical Oklahoma was like it came right on the heels of the Dust Bowl coming out of the Depression, where the Grapes of Wrath gave Oklahoma such a negative connotation, and then here comes these singing and dancing cowboys and stuff, and everybody thought it was great, and it set records on Broadway, and so. Very, very much revered the guys who wrote Oklahoma.
Oh, bigger than Mickey Mantle, Troy Aikman, or Carrie Underwood?
Let's see. Not bigger than Mickey Mantle, bigger than Troy, and bigger than Carrie Underwood. So Mickey Mantle 1, Rodgers and Hammerstein 2 on that list.
One football thought for you, because we can't talk to you without talking college football. But I talked to one of the locals here who tracks, there's so much new in football now, right? And they're tracking all these transfers. And they were telling me that the public gets excited. You get a transfer from fill in, the name, big Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama, whoever, right? Or you get a transfer from San Jose State, North Texas, or I don't know, whatever other small school. And he said that what the numbers are telling him now that they track it, that you are more likely to have success with a player moving up a level or two than you are with a transfer from another Power 4 school. And that made me think, and it's still case by case, there are transfers from Power 4 schools who hit it big, and there are kids who move up and they can't quite cut it. But that made me think maybe Oklahoma State can be back faster than you think, because obviously getting a coach from North Texas, you're getting a big infusion of talent from North Texas, starting with the quarterback. The people should take that seriously, and I wondered if you're hearing anything like that in this run-up to Oklahoma State with a new coach in a new era.
Well, I can tell you a few things. One, Eric Morris is a very impressive guy in terms of trying to build a program, the way he goes about things, the fit, all those things seems A+. Mm-hmm. Drew Mestemaker looks like the real deal. He's a 0-star recruit. He didn't even start for his high school team in Austin. and just barely somehow finagled his way to walk on at North Texas. And by the end of the year, he's throwing 400 yards in a bowl game, and then did what he did last year. Now he's at OSU. So he's the real deal. People like Bruce Feldman of The Athletic, they big on Drew Mestamaker and the Cowboys. Here's what I would say, though. Literally, how would anybody know what Oklahoma State's going to do? Literally. They got 85 new players. 85. I mean, this is like leaving St. Joseph, Missouri in 1869 on a wagon train and saying, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. You guys had no idea what you were going to do on that wagon train and what California was going to be like when you got there. It's a total unknown. It's like going into space. 85 new players. 45, I hope I hadn't thrown this at you before. Oklahoma State football personnel chart, the staff, coaches, support personnel, medical, all that. They list 45 players. 45 employees. 3 of them were here last year. These guys can't find they don't know where the Walmart is in Stillwater. And all of a sudden we've got to know whether they can compete with Brigham Young and Utah and Texas Tech and Kansas State. I have no idea. It is, to me, what we're seeing more than a projection, it is a affirmation of what a mess it was in the past. To think, and they're going to be better. I don't think they're going to go 0-9 in the Big 12 again. But to think that Oklahoma State went and got the North Texas coach and 22 players from North Texas, or 21, whatever it was, among their 85 new players, and are going to be better by basically transfusing the North Texas program to Stillwater. What an indictment of what happened in Stillwater these last 2 years.
Yeah, shocking.
Letting go of the rope. Mike Gundy was phenomenal forever, but then he just, I don't know what he was doing. And if you bring in 85 players, guess what? You lost 85 players. So, some were seniors. They probably had 10 or 12, 15, whatever. So let's say the 70 players that they've lost, 3 or 4 of those guys have landed in power conference rosters. So they didn't have any ball players. North Texas had some ball players. So OSU is going to be better. Mestamaker's a potential star. They got wide receivers, and Morris knows what he's doing. So they're going to be better. I'm hard-pressed to believe that they could compete for a Big 12 title, or even really the upper tier of the Big 12. That just doesn't seem likely to me. I really don't know anything about these guys. They had their spring game the very same day as Oklahoma. I went to Oklahoma's spring game, so I didn't even get to see them live, which I would love to have seen them. But, we're going to find out quick. They play Oregon week 2. So Oregon will be, they'll be locked and loaded. So, I would tend to put OSU in the second division of the Big 12. I think about an Indiana transformation happens about once a half a century, and we've already had ours. So we'll see, though. We'll see. How's the Cougars and the Utes looking?
Great. They are.
Hey, when people ask me surprise team of 26, who am I picking? I throw out BYU every time. I say they got a culture. They got a bunch of players back. They got their quarterback returning. They've been good.
Yeah.
They don't have 85 new players.
No.
I'm bullish on BYU.
I think you should be. They've won double-digit games the last 2 years. They've got their quarterback back. They lost Jay Hill, and the cornerbacks coach went with Kyle Whittingham to Michigan. And a lot of people are interested to see what's going to happen with that defense, because Jay Hill came in. He's just a local guy all the way. Was
this guy from Weber, right?
Yes.
From Weber State.
Yeah, he played at Utah. and coached at Utah under Whittingham, and then goes to Weber, resurrected Weber, that made them a literal national power, and then goes to BYU paying 7 figures, which they normally hadn't done, to get an assistant coach there to run the defense. The defense had been awful, and it transformed. Now he's gone. I've heard some people say, oh, man, that Kalani Sitake's success, he owes a lot to Jay Hill. And there was somebody down there who was willing to let Kalani go to Penn State because he figured, well, I got Jay Hill sitting right here. Turns out it didn't work. It didn't happen that way. Some other people got involved, but that was the line of thinking. So Jay Hill is highly regarded, and Kyle scoops him up and takes him to Michigan. So we'll see how the defense is. But the recruiting is picked up. They're on a high right now, so I have no problem with you being bullish on BYU football.
Yeah, I'm actually more – Big 12 seems more predictable. It's the most unpredictable conference we've had for this decade.
Yeah, last 2 years.
It seems more predictable maybe than the other leagues because so many of the traditional quality programs that you figure, well, they're going to be good. Well, Oklahoma State, we know about. Iowa State's totally wiped out. Kansas State got hurt bad in the portal. Now, maybe Colin Klein's rebuilding quickly. I don't know. But Tech, BYU, and I assume the Utes, I think those are pretty dependable. So that's the way I would see the Big 12.
Yeah, Utes should be fine this year too.
Yeah, Cincinnati's not going to be very good, and Central Florida is just treading water, and West Virginia is still not back, and TCU, who knows? I don't know. But
TCU and ASU.
I throw both there.
You like ASU? Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm
Arizona.
Worried about the quarterback.
Yeah, I think they got a coach who's pretty good with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
All right, Barry.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
We'll leave it right there for now. And I think you need to start
spreading the news.
Start packing your bags, start spreading the news. You're not leaving today.
I'm not leaving today. I think I'll wait till they actually get to 4 wins.
Yeah.
In this series.
Yeah, well, the series, the finals doesn't start till June 3rd, I think.
Well, check out the flights and the hotels. You can at least do that.
I've been doing that, and and I will. Next time I'm on with you guys, I'll come up with another good piece of Oklahoma culture.
Okay. We look forward to that.
I got to tell you, you guys stunned me. And when you now who's Rogers and Hammerstein? Literally in Oklahoma, you don't have to. Nobody asks that question. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein. I know their first names.
Oh, wow.
Oscar Hammerstein.
Well, now we'll do a segment on famous Oscars. So there you go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oscar Schmidt, Brazilian sharpshooter. Oscar Mayer.
He died the other day. Did you see that?
He did, yeah.
He died just the other day. Oscar Gamble with the massive
former Padre and Yankee. Yes, I remember him.
Yeah, and of course, Oscar Robertson's the best ever.
Yeah, the big O.
But Oscar, not Felix Unger and Oscar
Madison.
Madison. That's right, from The Odd Couple.
I got your culture right there.
Yeah. That's right. Jack. Okay, who do you like? Jack Klugman or Walter Matthau?
I'd go with Klugman.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with Klugman's portrayal there. Walter Matthau's an abbot. You say Walter Matthau, I think Bad News Bears. There he is in the dugout.
Grumpy old men.
Yeah, grumpy old men.
The Odd Couple is like MASH. The TV show is better than the movie, which is very rarely the way it works.
Yep. Barry, we appreciate it as always. You're the man.
All right, see you guys.
All right, there's Barry Tramel. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.